Once upon a time, in the humid, dense jungles of East Africa, the village of Kumani thrived with a life of its own. Hidden beneath a canopy of emerald leaves and surrounded by the songs of exotic birds, it was a place untouched by the rapid advance of modernity. The people of Kumani, proud descendants of ancient warriors, lived in harmony with the land and with each other. They held their traditions and beliefs close, preserving their culture amidst the ever-encroaching world. Among them was the daughter of the village king, Nyasha. She was a vision of grace and strength, with eyes that mirrored the deep, serene rivers flowing through their territory. Her spirit was as untamed as the wild horses she often rode across the vast savannas. Nyasha had a thirst for knowledge and a heart full of dreams, yet she was bound by the duties and expectations of her heritage. Thousands of miles away, in the small town of Cedar Ridge, Ohio, another story was unfolding. Ethan Harper, a young man of 19, was preparing for a journey that would take him far from the life he knew. Raised in a devout Christian family, Ethan had grown up with stories of missionaries spreading the gospel to distant lands. Inspired by these tales and his own unwavering faith, he decided to embark on a mission to Africa, hoping to make a difference in the lives of those he would meet. Ethan's arrival in Kumani was met with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The villagers, though wary of outsiders, welcomed him with a cautious hospitality. He was given a small hut near the edge of the village and began his work of teaching, helping with medical needs, and sharing his faith. Despite the initial language barrier, Ethan quickly formed bonds with the children, whose laughter and innocence transcended words. It was during one of these moments, as he played a game of soccer with the village boys, that Ethan first saw Nyasha. She watched from a distance, her eyes filled with both intrigue and skepticism. Their gazes met briefly, and Ethan felt a strange, unexplainable connection. Days turned into weeks, and Ethan found himself increasingly drawn to Nyasha. He admired her strength, her intelligence, and her deep connection to her people. She, in turn, was fascinated by his tales of a world so different from her own, and the sincerity with which he spoke of his beliefs. Their paths crossed more frequently. Nyasha would often come to listen to Ethan's lessons, not so much for the content, but for the passion and kindness he exuded. They began to share stories of their respective worlds, Ethan speaking of bustling cities, snowy winters, and technological marvels, while Nyasha described the ancient legends, the wisdom of her ancestors, and the beauty of her homeland. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Ethan and Nyasha found themselves alone by the river. The air was thick with unspoken emotions, and the usual cacophony of the jungle seemed to hush in anticipation. "Nyasha," Ethan began, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've never felt this way before. Every time I see you, it's like my heart races and everything else fades away." Nyasha looked at him, her eyes reflecting the fading light. "Ethan, I feel the same. But our worlds are so different. How could this ever work?" Ethan took her hand, feeling the warmth of her skin against his. "I don't know. But I believe love can find a way, even against all odds." Their bond deepened, but so did the challenges they faced. Nyasha's father, King Cato, was a formidable leader who held strong to the traditions and ways of his people. He had plans for Nyasha, plans that did not include a foreigner, let alone a Christian missionary. One evening, during a grand feast celebrating the harvest, King Cato addressed the villagers. His voice boomed with authority and pride as he announced Nyasha's betrothal to Kwame, a powerful warrior from a neighboring tribe. The announcement was met with cheers and applause, but for Nyasha and Ethan, it felt like the earth had been ripped from beneath them. That night, in the shadows of the ancient baobab trees, Ethan and Nyasha met in secret. Tears streamed down Nyasha's face as she clung to Ethan, their love feeling both desperately strong and impossibly fragile. "We can't let this happen," Ethan said, his voice shaking with emotion. "I can't lose you, Nyasha." "We have to be strong," she replied, her voice filled with both determination and despair. "There must be a way." The days that followed were a blur of tension and heartache. Ethan knew he had to confront King Cato, to somehow prove his worth and the sincerity of his love for Nyasha. He sought counsel from the village elders, hoping to find a way to win their support. In a dramatic turn of events, a severe illness struck the village. The villagers, including King Cato, were desperate for help. Using the medical supplies and knowledge he had, Ethan worked tirelessly to save as many lives as he could. His selfless actions did not go unnoticed. The villagers, once skeptical of the foreigner, began to see him in a new light. As the crisis subsided, King Cato summoned Ethan to his hut. The air was thick with tension as Ethan entered, his heart pounding in his chest. "You have done much for my people," King Cato began, his voice heavy with both respect and authority. "But my daughter is a treasure of this land. What makes you think you are worthy of her?" Ethan met the king's gaze, his voice steady and sincere. "I love Nyasha with all my heart. I know our worlds are different, but I believe we can find a way to bridge that gap. I want to be here, to be a part of your community, and to honor your traditions. I will do whatever it takes to prove my love and commitment." King Cato studied Ethan for a long moment, the weight of his decision evident on his face. Finally, he spoke. "Love is a powerful force, stronger than any tradition or boundary. If my daughter loves you and you are willing to embrace our ways, then perhaps there is a path forward." Tears of relief and joy filled Ethan's eyes as he bowed deeply in gratitude. The path ahead would not be easy, but with the blessing of King Cato and the support of the villagers, Ethan and Nyasha's love had a fighting chance. The following months were a time of transformation and growth. Ethan immersed himself in the culture and traditions of Kumani, learning the language, customs, and ways of the people. His faith and beliefs did not waver, but he found a way to harmonize them with the rich tapestry of Nyasha's world. Nyasha, too, found herself embracing aspects of Ethan's life and faith, finding strength and comfort in the unity of their diverse backgrounds. Their love became a symbol of hope and possibility, showing that even in a world divided by distance and difference, the heart could find common ground. In a grand ceremony that blended the customs of both their cultures, Ethan and Nyasha were married. The village celebrated with joy and exuberance, their cheers echoing through the jungle as they danced and sang beneath the starlit sky. Their journey was far from over, and the challenges they faced were still many. But together, they knew they could overcome anything. With each step they took, they forged a new path, one that honored their pasts while embracing the future. In the heart of the African jungle, amidst the ancient trees and the whispering winds, the love story of Ethan and Nyasha became a legend, a tale of courage, faith, and the unyielding power of love. And as they stood hand in hand, looking out over the vast, untamed land, they knew that their love was as eternal and boundless as the horizon before them.